Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when your soul grows quiet, moments when you stand between what you feel and what you hope for, moments when you wonder if heaven still hears whispers of your heart. But I want to remind you of a truth many overlook. There are simple words, 12 of them, that carry extraordinary power. Words the Holy Spirit longs to hear. Words that unlock peace, strength, clarity, and direction. Words most believers forget to speak, not because they don't believe, but because life becomes loud, heavy, and hurried. These are not complicated phrases. They are not long prayers. They are not rehearsed speeches. They are simple, yet they shift the atmosphere of your life. Today, I want to walk with you through these words not just to recite them, but to understand why they matter and how they awaken your spirit. I am listening. There is a sacred shift that happens inside your life the moment you say the words, I am listening. These 3 words are more than a response. They are an invitation. They invite stillness into your spirit, clarity into your mind, and divine presence into the atmosphere around you. Most people rush through their days with hearts full of questions, yet minds too noisy to receive answers. They cry out for direction, but rarely slow down long enough to hear the whispers of guidance that are already surrounding them. When you say, I am listening, you quiet the storm inside you long enough for wisdom to enter. You acknowledge that hearing is just as important as hoping, and that openness is the foundation upon which all spiritual strength is built. Listening is an act of humility. It is the moment when your soul admits that it doesn't have all the answers, that it has reached the limit of its own understanding. Many people fear silence because silence confronts them with themselves, their doubts, their insecurities, their unspoken worries. But when you speak the words, I am listening, you are not entering silence alone. You are stepping into a space where divine guidance can finally be heard. It is within this quietness that direction becomes clearer, burdens become lighter, and confusion begins to dissolve. In the stillness that follows those 3 words, you start to sense nudges and impressions that were always there, waiting for space to be acknowledged. Saying, I am listening, is also an act of surrender. It is the moment you stop wrestling with what you cannot control and begin to trust what you cannot yet see. It is easy to speak, easy to ask, easy to pour out your desires and your fears. But listening requires trust. Trust that there is something worth hearing. Trust that wisdom will come. Trust that you are not speaking into empty space. It takes courage to quiet your voice and allow guidance to reach you in its own timing and its own way. And the Holy Spirit responds powerfully to that courage, because listening opens the door to alignment, and alignment opens the door to transformation. In a world full of distractions, listening becomes a spiritual discipline. Every noise around you, every notification, every worry, every responsibility tries to pull your attention away from the deeper voice calling within. And so few people ever hear it, not because it is distant, but because it is gentle. When you say, I am listening, you push back against the chaos of life and reclaim the quietness of your own soul. You create space where peace can breathe, where wisdom can settle, and where clarity can finally rise above confusion. Listening becomes the most powerful way to receive what you have been asking for all along. And perhaps the greatest gift of these words is not what you hear immediately, but who you become because of them. A listening heart becomes a guided heart. A guided heart becomes a confident heart, and a confident heart becomes an unshakable one. When you say, I am listening, you become more aware, more receptive, more spiritually alive. You begin noticing things you never noticed before: patterns, opportunities, warnings, and encouragements. You walk with a new sensitivity, a new depth, and a new strength. These 3 simple words transform your spiritual posture. because listening is not passive. It is the beginning of every miracle, every breakthrough, and every answered longing in your life. Lead me. There comes a moment in every life when certainty runs out, when your own understanding can no longer carry you, and when the path ahead becomes unclear. In that moment, the words "lead me" become more than a request. They become a lifeline. These two words acknowledge that direction is not found in striving, but in surrendering, not in controlling, but in trusting. They open your life to guidance far wiser than your own instincts. When spoken with sincerity, "lead me" becomes a key that unlocks the steps you didn't know existed, revealing a way forward when you felt there was none. To say "lead me" is to demonstrate one of the greatest signs of strength, the willingness to be guided. Many people believe that independence is the highest form of power, but true power comes from alignment, being connected with the wisdom that sees beyond what you can see. When you say "lead me," you admit that your vision is limited, but your faith is not. You acknowledge that life is bigger than your plans and that guidance is available to those who desire it. This humble posture shifts your perspective from self-reliance to spiritual direction, opening doors that your effort alone could never open. These two words also free you from the exhausting pressure of always needing to know the next move. Too many people walk through life burdened by anxiety because they believe everything depends on their ability to control outcomes. But when you say "lead me," you place the weight of your journey into hands far more capable than your own. It doesn't mean the path becomes easy. It means it becomes purposeful. It doesn't mean obstacles disappear. It means you walk through them with clarity, strength, and peace that surpass your understanding. Guidance replaces guesswork, and purpose replaces panic. "Lead me" is also a declaration of trust. Trust that the route may not look like what you expected, but it will always lead somewhere meaningful. Trust that even detours carry lessons. Trust that even delays carry preparation. Trust that the unseen is working on your behalf. These words shift your heart from fear to faith, from confusion to confidence. When spoken sincerely, they become an anchor in the storms of life and a compass in seasons of uncertainty. You stop wandering and start walking with intention. And most importantly, "lead me" shapes your character. It teaches patience, humility, and spiritual maturity. It molds you into someone who doesn't just move through life, but moves with purpose, direction, and conviction. You become more attuned to nudges, signs, and moments of inspiration. Opportunities begin to align. Doors open at the right time. And even when the path is unfamiliar, your heart remains steady because you know you are not walking alone. These two words do not just change your steps, they change your destiny. Fill my heart. The world has a way of draining even the strongest souls. Every day, you face pressures, expectations, disappointments, and uncertainties that chip away at your energy and peace. That is why the words "fill my heart" carry such profound power. They are not words of weakness, but of wisdom to recognize that emptiness is not meant to be endured. It is meant to be filled. When you speak these words, you are opening the deepest part of yourself to strength beyond your own, inviting renewal where life has worn you thin. Saying "fill my heart" acknowledges a truth many try to hide. That strength is not endless when you depend only on yourself. People pretend they're fine, they push through exhaustion. They cover their heaviness with smiles, yet inside they feel depleted. These words dismantle the facade and create space for genuine restoration. They tell the Holy Spirit that you are ready to be refilled with peace where there has been stress, with courage where there has been fear, and with hope where there has been discouragement. It is in this willingness to be refilled that transformation begins. When you say, "Fill my heart," you shift from surviving to receiving. You allow your emotions, your thoughts, and your spirit to be reset and strengthened. It is in this posture that heaviness breaks. Worry loses its grip, confusion loosens, and calmness rises like a steady river within you. The Holy Spirit responds to openness, not demanding hearts, but surrendered ones. These words create that openness, allowing peace to flow where chaos once lived. They invite joy back into places that had felt numb, and invite clarity into areas clouded by doubt. "Fill my heart" also carries the power to protect you. A filled heart cannot be overwhelmed by negativity. It cannot be easily shaken by fear or manipulated by anxiety. When your heart is full, you are resilient, you are steady, you are grounded, you're no longer reacting to life. You're responding from a place of strength. And the more consistently you ask to be filled, the stronger and more stable your spirit becomes. The world may push, but you will not break. The storm may rage, but you will stand firm. Above all, these words transform your inner life. They reshape your outlook, your relationships, and your choices. A heart filled with divine peace speaks differently, thinks differently, and acts differently. You begin to carry light in dark places, calm in chaotic environments, and strength in the face of adversity. You become a source of encouragement and stability for others, not because you have no difficulties, but because your heart is continually renewed. "Fill my heart" is not just a request. It is a lifestyle of staying connected to the source of your strength. Use my life. Within every person lies a deep longing, a desire for their life to matter, to make an impact, to leave a trace of goodness in the world. When you speak the words "use my life," you awaken that calling. These words are not about perfection. They are about availability. They signify your willingness to let your story, your struggles, your gifts, and even your scars become pathways of purpose. When you say "use my life," you are choosing to live beyond yourself, stepping into a purpose far greater than comfort or routine. These three words shift your focus from asking for blessings to becoming one. Instead of only desiring help, you desire to be helpful. Instead of waiting for change, you become a vessel of it. Many people underestimate their significance because they measure purpose by size rather than impact. But purpose is not found in grand platforms, it is found in willing hearts. When you say "use my life," you offer your heart, your time, your voice, your compassion, and your presence as instruments of good in a world starving for hope. "Use my life" also unlocks meaning from your pain. Every challenge you faced, every hardship you endured, every dark night you survived becomes part of your purpose. Nothing is wasted. What once hurt you now helps others. What once broke you now builds strength in someone else. When you ask to be used, your past becomes a testimony, your struggles become wisdom, and your healing becomes a map for people still walking through their storms. Your life becomes evidence that difficulty does not destroy destiny, it shapes it. These three words also elevate your daily life. Suddenly, ordinary moments become opportunities. Conversations become meaningful. Small acts become significant. You live with intention rather than habit. You start to see divine appointments where others see coincidences. You begin to understand that every step, every encounter, every gift within you carries purpose. And with every new day, you find fresh ways to bring light into places where darkness has settled. Most importantly, "use my life" cultivates a spirit of service, humility, and compassion within you. You become someone who lifts others, encourages them, and brings strength to places of weakness. You walk through life with a renewed awareness that your existence is not random but deeply purposeful. And the more you offer your life to be used, the more fulfillment you experience. You realize that true significance is not found in what you receive, but in what you become for others. These 3 words transform your life into a vessel of impact, and purpose becomes your compass. Thank you. There is a quiet but extraordinary power in the words thank you. These 2 words carry the ability to shift the atmosphere of your heart, no matter what circumstances you stand in. Gratitude is not just a reaction to good things, it is a declaration of trust in the unseen. When you say, thank you, even in moments of uncertainty, you affirm that something meaningful is working in your life. You acknowledge that peace, guidance, and strength are already present, even before you fully experience them. Gratitude becomes the bridge between where you are and where you are meant to be. Thank you turns your heart away from fear. Fear thrives on what is missing. Gratitude thrives on what is present. When you choose gratitude, you silence worry, you weaken anxiety, you calm the emotional storms that try to rise within you. These 2 simple words carry the power to realign your entire mindset. Instead of focusing on what you lack, you become aware of how much you have already been given: strength to face the day, breath in your lungs, hope in your spirit, and guidance that has supported you through every past battle. Gratitude also invites more clarity into your life. When your heart is thankful, it becomes receptive. You see opportunities that others overlook. You feel peace that others miss. You notice blessings that once blended into the background. Thank you opens your eyes to the subtle ways the Holy Spirit has been guiding, protecting, and strengthening you all along. Gratitude sharpens your spiritual sensitivity and deepens your awareness of the unseen help constantly at work in your life. These 2 words also cultivate resilience. A grateful person is not easily shaken. Gratitude doesn't deny the difficulty, it strengthens you through it. It becomes your anchor in uncertain moments, reminding you that storms are temporary and strength is always available. When you say thank you, even before the breakthrough arrives, you declare that your faith is stronger than your circumstances. Gratitude becomes your shield, your grounding, and your reminder that you are guided, supported, and never alone. Most importantly, thank you transforms your spirit. It softens your heart, lifts your outlook, and fills your life with a sense of hope and expectation. It turns ordinary days into meaningful ones and challenges into opportunities for growth. When you consistently speak these 2 words, you begin to radiate peace, humility, and joy. Gratitude doesn't just change your mood, it changes your spirit. It opens your life to deeper strength, deeper clarity, and deeper connection with the divine presence guiding you every day.